Wellness webinar. And I'm Laura Maloof Miller. I'm a Wellness Program Manager with HealthNet. As you know, Kristen Kayla, Health Promotion Consultant, is also on the line with me as well. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we begin. Everybody has been muted upon entering the webinar. That's to help us avoid any background noise. And if you want to change your audio settings, you simply click on the join audio icon. Also, at the end of the webinar, there'll be a quick 4-question anonymous survey. If you are having any technical difficulties, please feel free to chat directly to Kristen. You simply open the chat box, hover over the Zoom toolbar. It should be at the top of your screen, and you're going to see a little chat box icon there. And Kristen will receive your messages in real time, so she'll respond to your messages in the order that she receives them. Now, if you happen to be in a conference room or you used a single webinar access with your team, if you could chat that number of attendees to Kristen, that way we'll get more of an accurate number on attendance. Please keep in mind the information provided in this presentation is intended solely for the general information of the audience. You know, it's not medical advice and shall not replace consultation with your physician or other qualified health provider. If you happen to have any health-related questions or problems, we ask that you please seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider. All right, we're going to be talking about work-life balance today. This is a topic I personally need myself, so I'm glad we're offering it. This is what I'm going to be talking about today. It's a balancing act, right? Equal time for work and life. Well, we'll see. I'm going to give you some tips on to make sure that work isn't taking over your life. I'll be talking about how to get the most out of your weekends. We all need downtime. And I'm actually going to guide you through one of the modules from My Strength. This one's called The Flow of Work and Life. I will end the webinar with some resources and tips for those who may be caring for young folks or older persons. All right, our first poll. My work life and my personal life will always balance. So let me launch that for you. All right, these are always optional. You are not required to do these, but it's kind of fun. My work life and my personal life will always balance. All right, just a couple more seconds on that. All right, let me share the results with you. All right, so 86% of you said false. That is the correct answer. Work-life balance is tough for many people, and that includes me as well. So when our work and our life feel like they're in conflict, we have to set some boundaries and take some steps toward a better work-life integration. That's a much better way of looking at it than the word balance. All right, so I don't mean to burst anybody's bubble, but you will actually never find a balance between your work and your personal life. So that very idea, that very word, it means that there's some perfect ratio between the time spent on work, such as meetings, projects, checking your email, and time spent on everything else, like sleeping or taking a lunch break away from your desk, or your home life, kids, pets, relaxation, recreation. In fact, the quality of your work and your productivity is completely dependent on the quality of your personal life. Now, an abundance of research shows that what we do outside of work thoroughly influences the energy, motivation, our focus, our creativity, our persistence, insight, and raw intellectual power that we bring to our work or a project. Meaning, the better your personal life is, the higher your potential to do great work. Now, here's a quote from the CEO of Hinsta Performance. Now, this is a leading evidence-based coaching company They work with top athletes and business professionals to help them achieve sustainable success. Their company bases its programs on the premise that performance is built on a foundation of well-being. So she says, if you're worried about your work-life balance, you're missing the point. There is just life, and your work is part of that, of your life. That's it. Hey, do you see how the scale kind of looks like a sad face? We are many things to many people, and we suffer when our work life and our values, like family time, are not working together. So the term balance, with the term balance, there's an implication that life and work are opposites. But for many of us, work is an important meaning-making part of life. The struggle is actually how to integrate work with our other roles and responsibilities. You know, those things we must do and those things we want to do. Now, when we use the word integration, it suggests that there's a blending of work and life, and even connections across aspects of life, such as connections with family, work, community, or personal well-being. Our goal should be to align our personal values and our priorities when considering our time and energy. Set clear boundaries so that we can be present and productive in the tasks that we're engaged with, both in our work life and in our personal life. I'm not saying this is easy to do. This might require some careful thought and also repeated attempts. Now, if we don't set boundaries, this often leads to feeling overwhelmed and stress that can lead to burnout. So, how should we work toward integration? One of the first steps is to write down your values. They should be guiding ideas that you want to live by, such as time with family, or service to the community, or self-care. We also must identify our most important roles and responsibilities in home, work, and our personal life. Again, these should be specific. Maybe it's earning money. Maybe it's caring for kids or older family members, or that big work project, or time with friends. Once you have given some thought to your most important responsibilities and values, that's the information that you can use to guide you. But we need a plan. And a plan starts with self-awareness. So simply recognizing the need for work-life integration requires that you're aware of it. So making a habit of noticing where your minds are going and what your body is telling you, that's key to be making sure we're on the right path. You take on your most important work tasks first when you're at your sharpest, but you also need to schedule in time for yourself and those that you care about. Putting good boundaries around your personal life must-haves. So in order to do this, what do we need to do? Well, we need some time management skills. Those are key. Look for technology to help with planning and coordinating those plans with others, like using maybe a shared Google Calendar at home, at work. Personally, I do this. I have one calendar on my phone that has both work and personal appointments all in one place. I have teenagers at home and they don't drive yet. So they actually have lives of their own. Oh, great. But they still need mom and dad to get them where they need to go. Think about, what can you delegate? Are there tasks at home someone else can do? Or at work? Are there tasks that you can empower others to take on, when appropriate? Try to do the tough work in bursts, avoiding disruptions and multitasking. You'll be more productive and creative if you take some breaks too that use other parts of your brain. Like take a quick walk down the hall or to another part of the office or home office. Maybe even just look out a window or step outside for a few minutes. We really have to keep an eye on our boundaries. Now, it might be okay to take calls when you're cooking dinner, but only if it gets you the time you really want away from work. And those thoughts about work, they don't stay with you all night. Remember to go easy on yourself. We know that life happens. Our best laid plans go awry. And most of us, we actually don't have realistic expectations of all that we need to do. So be sure to give yourself a little love and be thankful for your rich and dynamic life. Also, keep in mind that work-life integration won't look the same for every person. It really depends on your personality and your type of employment. So this requires some mindful self-reflection and some bigger conversations about what you need from work and what work needs from you. It's the weekend, 2 days off. Well, if you get that, doesn't seem hardly enough. So maybe you work a flex week and you have an additional day off every other week. Whatever your work schedule, there are some tips for getting the most out of your time off. It happens to start all on Friday night. You need to hide all evidence of work and other stressors. Put the bills in a drawer, put your work bag away, turn off the laptop. The goal is to be able to wake on Saturday morning in a place that feels weekend ready, not with remnants of your undone work or your projects or your to-do lists lying around. You do need to think about what you'd like to do over the weekend. You know, the things that you have to do. Maybe there are some events that you're going to. Also, basic chores that need to get doing. But what about, you also have to think about what you want to do. Maybe there's some home projects or a fun outing or some hobbies. It's easy to overestimate what can be accomplished in a single weekend. So you kind of have to pare down the list. Now, if your weekday mornings are a rush, then sleep in or lounge in bed. If you're a morning person, maybe do some stretches or yoga or simply sit in your favorite chair with your mug of coffee or tea. Now, if your weekday breakfast is grab and go a granola bar, then have a real breakfast on the weekend. Save up a few special treats for Saturday. This gives you something to look forward to. Maybe it's a special tin of tea. Maybe it's fresh bakery goods or a bouquet of flowers or a stack of new library books. It's the anticipation that actually makes the pleasure even greater. Don't forget to schedule some downtime. Even 10 minutes here or half an hour there can make a huge difference in the way you feel. Maybe you should take a nap or listen to music or read a favorite magazine or just spend some time outside. It does seem impossible these days to completely disconnect from the online world. But as hard as it may be, setting some limits is essential for a happy and a healthy weekend. If you absolutely have to touch base with work, set aside a few short, specific pockets of time to do that during your weekend. Also, pick one high point in your weekend. This could be a home project. It could be a social event. It could be dinner and a movie. A great weekend tends to have one high point. More than that, that's just going to leave you feeling exhausted. And on Sunday or whenever during the weekend you find yourself with some downtime at home, consider cooking an extra dinner. That's going to give you a head start on the week ahead. Did you know? Not only are vacations relaxing, but they can actually boost our productivity and creativity. Although Americans have fewer vacation days than people in any other country, we have been taking less and less vacations. Ironically, while Americans may pride themselves on the hard work and dedication, research suggests that we would work harder, perform better, and have greater health, stamina, and enthusiasm for our work if we take time off. And by the way, if my manager happens to be listening now, I'm going to be taking the rest of the afternoon off. Often, we take vacations in order to relax, but hey, do they actually work? Well, scientists out of the University of California, San Francisco, examined this question. I would have been so happy to participate in this research. So this is what they did. The data showed that a resort vacation not only makes us feel more energetic and less stressed than we were before we took the vacation, it also leads to a strong and immediate impact on molecular networks associated with stress and immune function. So this is great news. So pick your favorite leisure activity. Maybe you do some surfing in the sun or hanging out under the cabana. Maybe you like walking in the woods or sitting by a stream, and everything in between. It's all good. Another personal and professional advantage of taking vacations is the ability to detach from work. Now, even a short weekend getaway that can provide significant work stress recovery, although the longer trips provide a little bit more relief, as you can imagine. I don't know about you guys, but when I go on vacation, it takes me a few days just to decompress, to relax, and to not think about work. So here's the bad news on the sign: 41% are checking into work while they're away. 84% of the executives, they canceled vacations in order to work. But the good news is that 64% of us say that, hey, we are refreshed and excited to get back to work after a vacation. Now, if you joined any of our webinars, you know that I always have a slide at the end on our My Strength program. That's our mind, body, and spirit program. They have a module on work-life balance. So what I did was I've summarized the information, and I'm going to guide you through the steps. And as we move along, think about what resonates in your life. I'm going to be covering the importance of your core values and how to use those as a guide, effective time management, how to ask for help, living in the moment and why that helps, and the importance of self-care and enjoyment in life. Now, some people talk about work-life balance as if it's an end goal. Hey, Laura, once I get there, I'm going to reach it. I'm going to live in harmony. Well, we've already discovered this is skewed thinking. Think of it more like a river that ebbs and flows. It must carve through a landscape and make its own path. Now, everybody's life is unique and may include family needs, work demands, self-care, and more. The goal is to find what works for you. So in other words, you adapt your priorities to fit the needs at the time. Here's some examples. Think of new parents who make home life more of a priority to bond with the baby. Or think about a tax accountant. Maybe they need to spend more time working during the tax season. So as life throws you new opportunities, adventures, or changes, be open and adjusting to priorities. Now, everyone has their own unique river. You have to define what flow means for you. And it changes through the years as we move through different stages of life. Now, here's a few examples of people in different stages of life. See if any of these resonate with you. Bonnie's a single mom of 2 young children. She spends her days managing meetings, appointments, household duties, deadlines, and getting her kids to activities. She is exhausted. She wants to set aside time for herself to recharge, but she just can't seem to find the time. Michael is in a new phase of his life. He just got his first job as a lawyer. Now, this means long hours, but he likes to spend his free time partying like he did in college. So he's up late at night and has early morning meetings, which means very little time for self-care. Now, Max and Maria, they're expecting their first baby. Currently, both work full-time and they split the chores, but they are worried about how they will fit everything in when the baby comes. And Thomas, he's a dad, a husband, an accountant, a soccer coach, and a friend. He's finally figured out how to fit all of this into his schedule, but he still feels really stressed out. The problem is when he's coaching soccer, he's thinking about work. When he's helping his son with homework, he's often gets distracted when his friends call. He's always rushing from one thing to another and can't seem to focus. There are several key elements to finding the flow in your life. Finding what feels right to you requires practicing some of these skills. And I'm going to review each one of these as we go through the slides. But first of all is identifying what's important to you. Those, again, are your values, and they will help guide us. There's only so much time during the day. Do you ever say to yourself, I'd love to, but I just wish I had the time? So time management is really key. And we all have needs, especially when juggling too much. But if we can express what we need, we can get help to relieve some of our burdens. Do you ever stop and let time pass through you? Mindfulness can help us stay present and focus. And self-care is not a selfish act. We can't really help others if we're already empty. So let's take a look. Here's another poll. When we know our values, it can be easier to make decisions on what is important to us. So let me launch this. Again, these are always optional, but here it comes. When we know our values, it can be easier to make decisions on what is important to us. All right, responses are coming in. All right, we got some smarties on the line today, Kristen. Just a couple more seconds on this. All right. You guys got it. 97% of you said true. That is correct. When we know your values, you should think of them as a compass. They're guiding you toward what is right for you. So where do we start? Well, we start right here. This is what, think about what you care about. Maybe it's relationships. Maybe it's staying in shape. Maybe it's having fun. You work hard and you want to play hard too. Or maybe you're working towards some career goals. When you are clear about what matters to you most, it's easier to know who you are and which way to go. You're also less concerned about how others see you and your decisions. Do keep in mind, values are not static. They change over time. You should occasionally take time to think about where you are in your life and reflect on your values. Maybe you have young kids. Maybe you're getting ready to be an empty nester, or maybe you're planning for retirement. So defining your values can seem like a huge task, but that's because we are many things to many people. Life is complex, but here are 4 main areas to think about when you're thinking about your values. We're going to talk about work and education, relationships, personal growth and health, fun, and hobbies. Now, here are some values that are related to work and education, along with some examples. Maybe it's things like some examples of work and education include things like your current job or your role. Maybe you've got goals or things you're trying to accomplish in your career. Are there training opportunities that you're looking at? Maybe you're currently working toward an advanced degree, or maybe you're doing more like informal education. So you're learning new skills through maybe trainings, certificate programs, maybe some online courses. So how important is this area of your life? Maybe you need and really value the flexibility in your schedule. Maybe you're providing for a family. Do you enjoy the work you do? Maybe it's what you value is the impact your work has, or maybe you're working toward attaining a personal or professional goal. When we think about values in the areas of personal growth, we think about our mental health, our physical health, and our spiritual wellness. But think about, is it maintaining good health through physical fitness? Is it coping, managing, or trying to limit stress and its effects? Some other ideas are things like creating work-life boundaries and sticking to them, or your spiritual well-being, or maybe it's caring for those in your family, your friends, or in the community. When we think about our personal life, think about your social circles, the people you have relationships with. Maybe it's honesty or trusted relationships with the people around you. Maybe you value the importance of loyalty with these people. Maybe you also value, the common interests that you share with them in your life. Or what about quality time with people that you're the closest to? And, are there people that you can lean on for support? So that's what we think about when we think about this area. All right, another one. Valuing fun and hobbies means you enjoy goofing off. All right. Oops. Watch this one. There we go. Take a stab at that one. Valuing fun and hobbies means you enjoy goofing off. Is that going to be true or false? All right. Couple more seconds on this one. All right, let me share the results here. About 72% of you said false, and that is the correct answer. All right, so when we do pleasurable activities, it actually releases dopamine, which leads to positivity and can counteract feelings of stress. So having fun allows us the opportunity to connect and create bonds with others. So doing enjoyable activities makes us more pleasant to be around, and doing these activities with others creates lasting memories. So when you value fun and hobbies, when you think about your leisure time or lack of it, is there anything that you do for fun? Do you ever get a chance to travel or explore new places, even right around where you live, so you can have new experiences? Do you have the artistic touch, or do you like to create? Do you enjoy learning, like maybe taking a new class or watching a video, or are you musically inclined? Okay, I am not. But anyway, that'd be great if you are. Do you like to get away? Do you like to go for a walk in the park? Or maybe just being outside in nature? Or do you like giving back to your community and you seek opportunities to help others? Values are great, but how can we bring them to life? Well, we need a plan. So the plan should be actionable and measurable. So here's a few examples. Maybe helping in the community is one of your top values. So then maybe you want to do something actionable. For example, you sign up one Saturday per month for volunteering for a cause that matters to you. Maybe honesty is one of your values. So you talk to a friend about an issue that's been getting between the both of you lately. Or maybe it's your health. So do something actionable and measurable that may include something like making an appointment with your doctor. Now, we fill many roles in our lives. You might be a partner, a friend, an employee, a parent, a caregiver every day. Okay. Your days may be filled with deadlines to meet and details to remember. So fitting it all in can feel almost impossible. Or is it? For just a moment, think about what your life would look like if you had enough time for everything that matters. You'd be able to schedule time for yourself. You might actually have some extra time for fun, family, your friends. You might be able to actually work on one thing at a time without distraction. Wouldn't it be great to no longer feel rushed or chaotic? And you actually might have more energy for the things that matter to you the most. Now, when we feel we must fit everything in, it can be overwhelming. So building time management skills can be incredibly helpful. Now, these steps can help you have the time you want to for what you want to do and also need to do. You may already be doing some of these skills. And, if you do, pick one on the list. It doesn't matter in any order, and you work on it until it becomes a habit. So in order to manage your time, the first step is to know, well, how much time do you have? That requires having a schedule that you can stick to. So maybe you're somebody who works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and you get an hour for lunch at noon. But how can you make sure you don't get pulled into other tasks outside of that schedule? Well, we need to set boundaries. For example, maybe you set your work calendar to unavailable during those times. Maybe you make a rule, or at least limit yourself to check work email, to not check work email outside of work hours. The next step in managing your time is to have a clear list of the things you want to do and need to get done. You may want to keep more than one list. This is something that I do. I have a notebook for work and I have a notebook for home. I love that feeling of crossing things off the list. That gives me such a sense of accomplishment. However, this list seems to never end. Okay, well, that's where the next step comes in. You need to prioritize the list. So what are we going to do first? So these are the tasks that are urgent and important. They need to be done today. What are some other tasks that can be scheduled? So these tasks, they're important, but they're not urgent. And then here's the best one. What can you delegate? Are there tasks that you can delegate to others? Now, sometimes a large project can feel overwhelming, and it can be hard to start when the task feels really, really big. So you got to break down the big project into smaller ones. My son is graduating from 8th grade at the end of May. So I've written out all the tasks involved in the celebration. That way I can kind of stay on top of it and I don't feel rushed. Now, when you're working on items on your list, give all your attention to the present moment. Focus on that task at hand. Now, help yourself achieve this by removing distractions, set boundaries, and committing to working on it for a set amount of time. Maybe you could close the door. Maybe you could put on headphones. Maybe you could turn off or hide your phone. Oh my gosh, that is such a distraction for me. Stick to the planned work times. I know that's a super hard one, but you got to do the best you can. Also, you need to fit in a break. You need breaks to refuel yourself both mentally and physically. So take an intentional, meaningful breaks. You worked on a project for a little while, get up, go for a walk, have a snack or some coffee, just stand up, take a 5-minute stretch break, or turn your eyes on something other than the screen. Maybe look out the window, maybe walk down the hall. Okay, it's so easy also to fixate on getting something exactly right, focusing on making things perfect. But you know what? That actually can get in the way of your productivity. So once the task is done in an acceptable way, it's complete and move on. We all need support. People need people. Isn't that a line from a Barbra Streisand song? Anyway, this can be super hard to do. Okay, instead of asking for help, what do? We try to do everything ourselves. I am so guilty of this. Take a look in the box. Does any of this sound familiar? You're overwhelmed at work, but yet you still say yes to more work. You can't let go of a project because someone else, they won't do it the way you're going to do it. Okay, so you just feel like you have to just do it all the time. Now, you've got to be a team player. After all, your performance review depends on it. And you don't want anyone to know that you've got too much on your plate. Unfortunately, this is a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and potential burnout. Okay, so what should we do? Well, we should ask for help with confidence and respect. You don't have to do everything alone. However, knowing how to ask can improve your chances of getting to a better place. People need people in all areas of life. For example, supportive colleagues. They can help us to be more productive and fulfilled. At home, help at home. That can help us to relax and recharge. Think about where you might have some tension, some feeling tension in your work-life flow. Ask yourself, where can I use some more support in my life? Who can I ask for that support? And if they help, how would that make things easier for you? Here's an example. So Joe's got a new project at work. He's never done this before, but he could ask a colleague for help. They do this work all the time. This could be just the help he needs to get past the hurdle. And me personally, I don't know about you, but I can always use some help with the chores at home. I've actually sort of proud of myself. I've gotten in the habit of asking my husband and the teenagers without yelling for some help. So how do we do it? Communicating our needs can be hard. So we start by describing the situation. You need to be objective and state the facts. For example, in the past year, I took on additional job duties. I even supervise a few people now. However, my pay has not changed. The next step is to describe how you feel about the situation. Try to use sentences that start with I feel, and then use a specific emotional word. For example, I feel my contribution isn't valued. So try to be as specific as possible about what you want. Think about the best way you could ask for what you need. For example, I would like a raise that allows me to be compensated for my new duties. The last step is to use positive reinforcement to encourage the other person. This means expressing some type of gratitude or giving them a reward for the behavior you want. Example is, thanks for allowing me to prove myself with these new duties. I'm glad we were able to talk about this. Now, we may think multitasking is helping us get all these things done. It's very likely that it actually isn't working. Our brain really can only focus on one thing at a time. That's where mindfulness can help. It's the opposite of multitasking. It's monotasking. It's good for our brain, and it can also make you feel and be more efficient. By focusing on one task, you get into what they call a state of flow. So this is described as giving your attention fully to the task, so much so that you briefly lose track of time. Now, you may have heard professional athletes talking about this, called I'm in the zone or being in the zone. That state is not reserved for just professional athletes. You may actually get lost in a book, or maybe playing the piano, or creating through painting or writing, or when you're walking or running. When we're mindful, we live in the present instead of worrying about the past or the future. There are many benefits, including reduced stress, building resilience to take on life's challenges, improved immunity, and sleep. Now, there are many ways to be mindful, both in our work life and our home life. And maybe you like to meditate, or take a walk, or sit quietly, or just focus on your breath. But what often gets in our way? Our negative thoughts and judgments. So when practicing to be mindful, notice the thoughts. Then say to yourself, that's just a thought. Say goodbye to it and go back on focusing on your task. Now, being mindful during activities, we can be mindful every day. It helps to put our mind at ease. Now, here are some examples of weaving mindfulness into your daily life. When you can practice mindfulness at home, let's say you're washing dishes. You want to notice the way the sponge feels in your hand, or take note of the temperature of the water on your hands and the way the soap smells. What about work? It's natural for our minds to wander off during meetings. So when you notice that, bring your thoughts back to what's happening in front of you. What's the speaker's tone? How well can you hear them? Have they said something you should write down? What about when we're spending time with people we care about? Mindfulness can help anytime you're with them. If you notice yourself thinking about something else, bring yourself back to the person in front of you. Notice the details of their face, the tone of their voice, or the way they make you feel. You've heard this before, making self-care one of your top priorities. This is a common theme with topics like resilience and happiness. Just before the plane takes off, the flight attendants explain the safety measures in case of an emergency. During this, they tell the passengers to put on their own oxygen mask before helping others like children or those acting like children. This is because you can't help others if you're depleted and empty. The same rules applies when we're seeking that work-life flow. Take care of yourself first, making time for things that make you happy. Then you could be ready for whatever comes your way. When life is busy and it feels chaotic, the idea of adding one more thing to your schedule can feel stressful. But when you start treating self-care like the most important appointment for yourself, other areas of your life can feel less chaotic. Just think about one area of self-care at a time. Did you know the physical, mental, and spiritual sides of ourselves, they are all connected. So when we nourish one, we nourish them all. So how well do you take care of your physical health? Do you brush your teeth every day? Do you get medical checkups? When you have a health issue, do you see a doctor? What about eating well? That means eating nutritious foods and getting plenty of hydration. Think about how well you're doing in this area too. Do you eat healthy foods? Or are you good sometimes and maybe not so times? Or maybe this is an area where you struggle. Now, most people need 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night in order to feel their best during the day. A consistent sleep schedule and healthy sleep habits help you function at your best. Do you get enough sleep on a regular basis? Sort of. Or do you think sleep is for people without access to the internet? So we know that exercise is an important way to improve or maintain your health and your mood. Experts recommend that you move your body on average about 30 minutes a day, about 5 days a week. Are you happy with your exercise routine? Are you doing okay? Or maybe you'd like to, make some changes, or maybe you haven't been exercising very much. So one great way to boost your mood is to actively engage in things that bring you joy. So think about fun, pleasant activities, and events that you could participate in. How about, to keep that mood boosting benefit, it also helps to do activities that are meaningful to you. So feelings of accomplishment and pride can make a big impact on your sense of well-being. Maybe it's take a class or learn to play an instrument or try a new recipe. I'm actually going to be in an adult tap dance recital. I have not been in a recital since I was a teenager, but I'm nervous, but I am mostly excited. But this is a hobby that I really enjoy. Lastly, remember that life happens, stress happens. What's going to be your plan? Will you try to be a little bit more mindful? Will you practice deep breathing or some other relaxation exercises? Maybe you'll call a friend. It's important to have a plan. So think of the things that I covered today, identifying what is the most important thing to you, your values, and following them. Of course, making time for things that are important to you through time management skills. It's okay to ask for help and support from coworkers, family, and friends. Using mindfulness to help focus and stay present in the moment, which benefits our work-life integration. Life will pass you by if you don't take time to practice self-care and have some meaningful fun along the way. These last couple of slides are some resources. So if you're struggling with trying to do it all and you need some professional help, a great place to start is an EAP. So if your employer offers an employee assistance program, you can often receive a certain number of free sessions, and you'll be paired with a counselor who can address your specific needs in a variety of work-life integration areas. Also, if you work outside the home and you're also a caregiver, you may feel overwhelmed. Some resources: contacting your human resources department to see if you qualify for unpaid job protected leave to care for a family member who is seriously ill. You also may be eligible for paid family leave benefits. Again, this provides benefit payments to people who need to take time off to care for a seriously ill family member. Also, your local area agency on aging may be another great resource for elder care. Try to focus in on what you're able to provide. It's totally normal to feel guilty sometimes, but understand that no one is the perfect caregiver, so give yourself some grace. Find out about caregiving resources in your community, services such as transportation or meal delivery or housekeeping may be available. Also, there may be opportunity for someone to come into your home, for example, a healthcare aide or a center that provides care for both adults and young children. These next slides are on programs that help HealthNet members stay on track with their health. Our members can find all of our wellness programs and other resources when they log into their HealthNet account. Don't forget to take our health risk assessment. That's called the Real Age Test. Make sure to take it and also check out our wellness center programs. My Strength, which I talked about today. So this is our Mind, Body, and Spirit program. It's both online and an app, so you can use it with your smartphone, and it helps you reduce stress, anxiety, depression, substance abuse, many, many more topics as available as well. They have modules on positivity, meditation, mindfulness, and relaxation, just to name a few. So this is a self-help program, but it also can be used in conjunction with a mental health professional. It's open to everybody. It's just you'll notice that HealthNet members versus the community members have different links. Maybe you want to give health coaching a try. Our coaches certainly can help you with goals, a plan, and support you through your journey. And if you have a health concern, our HealthNet members can call the nurse advice line to speak to a registered nurse. And we offer discounts on Weight Watchers, chiropractic, acupuncture, eye care, hearing aids, and fitness club discounts. If you're not a HealthNet member, just check with your health plan to see if they offer similar services and discounts. And we've got lots of online health challenges. So the May challenges include Spring Clean Your Routine. So this is going to focus on healthy habits. Sweet Dreams, of course, is a sleep challenge. Better Balance. Now, this is a stress management challenge that, again, is between the topic of work, balancing work and family life. It's about setting those boundaries and practicing some stress reducing strategies. Eat the Rainbow is a nutrition challenge that, of course, talks about adding colorful foods to your diet. And Spring Into Action. This is a steps challenge. And for HealthNet members, exclusively for you, we have Live Mindfully. That is a stress management challenge that's coming up in May. Lastly, mark your calendar. Join us next month. We are going to be talking about presenting a snapshot of the current state of mental health in the United States. We'll also provide a brief education about the leading mental health challenges and the interplay between our mental health and our physical health. And we will also offer some suggestions on ways that we can help ourselves, as well as knowing when to seek some professional help. So I hope you'll join us for that next month. Thank you so much for your time today. Please remember, if you attended this webinar in a conference room or used a single webinar access with your team, to chat that number of attendees to Kristen. Everyone who registered for this webinar will receive a link to the recording in just a few days. Thank you so much. We hope to see you next month. Bye-bye.